Hi guys, it's me, Carrie Silverlining Mena, and it was my intention to record today. My time is limited for when I have my family out of the house and have the place to myself. So it was today or next week. So I was kind of wondering, not really wondering what I was going to say. I just thought this was going to be a short recording and give an update about how my intuitive eating is going. I'm really hoping that people become inspired by this because I think it's just an awesome concept. And I can't even believe the changes that are going on in my brain. And I'm hyper aware of what is called diet culture. I never even heard that term before, so I'm probably going to use it a lot, but I'm hyper aware of it and how much influence it has had on me, how much control it's had on me, pretty much. And if you've been following along on my story, you see me stripping off the control that external sources have on me. And this is yet another one. And it was my intention. I'm also going to have my friend Tiffany do a tapping session with me because I really want to nail this intuitive eating stuff and get to the core of the reasons why I abuse food and use it to self-soothe. And I want to free myself of that too and create new ways in which to comfort myself other than food. It served its purpose, but I don't want to go that route anymore. But in between my decision to share a little bit about that journey, and now I had another breakthrough that feels like has nothing to do with my eating issues, food issues, body image issues, but it may or may not. I don't know, because I remember asking the guides, asking Fairy Girl to please give me a break in my evolution, because I've had a tough year. I had to let go of, twin two, and I had to deal with all my oppression with the brothel and the rape issues I was having. And, I spent the past year being really angry. It was not a pleasant growth moment for me. It was really, like with my love interests, at least at the end of that, there was love waiting for me, at least in theory. But with this one, there was nothing good at the end of it. I was pushing myself into something I didn't want to do. So I've just been angry with no kind of carrot dangling in front of me. So I really wanted a break. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I decided that, my new path, this eating thing, was that break. I was still doing inner work, but it didn't have anything to do with a heartache and more to do with a stomach ache. So again, I don't have any plans. This new, development, this new whatever it didn't really come out of nowhere. It's just unexpected. So I don't know. I haven't been rehearsing in my mind what I'm going to say. I either pace around in the garage or I drive in that neighborhood and it comes to me. But because I only have limited time in which to do these videos when I have the house to myself, and because it just came on so quickly, I'm just going to be more extemporaneous than usual. So let me start with my intuitive eating. Oh, so my intention was to talk about the intuitive eating and then have the second part of my video, my tapping with Tiffany. But I believe that they're going to be two separate videos because I think that one will be an episode in itself. And me, I never shut up, so I probably have plenty to say this time around. So the eating stuff, let me tell you what it's like, what's going on where I'm at now. And I have this new filter. I want to kind of brag about this. I have a filter of success. And I feel like I could not have done this food thing any sooner because I feel like I needed to have this filter of success in order to take on this challenge because I'm so conditioned. I'm so in a place still of believing that I am not worthy of being desired or not that it's anybody else's decision to decide if I'm pretty or whatever, attractive, but you need to feel it. I want to feel pretty and I want to feel attractive, and I don't. I feel ugly. I feel overweight and ugly because our society dictates that thin is beauty and fat is not. Fat is bad, thin is good, and I can't believe how much this has been nailed into us. And now that I'm dissecting and pulling things apart, I see it. So let me give you a few examples of the things that are just blowing my mind that we've been so conditioned to believe. One of them, these are just the ways that I've been noticing things. And one of them, I'm seeing all the commercials. Rob Lowe is up there in the commercials trying to advocate chocolate flavored chemicals in Atkins diet shakes as if that's good for us. He's selling us nutrition in the form of chocolate flavored chemicals so that we can be good people by being thin and losing weight. We'll be healthy if we ingest these chemicals. Another one is there's a commercial for, and I don't know if I'm going to say it right, I don't care, Sona Med Spa, something like that. And what it is, I don't even understand it, but there's like an animated instructional video about what happens. And if you go to this man's clinic, and this man is a doctor, he's dressed in a lab coat, looks very professional. And the video is of whatever his procedure is, it shrinks or eliminates or something, the fat cells in your body. So it shows this woman's belly shrinking. And this doctor is selling this. It's making me feel like if I do this doctor promoted treatment, then I will have health. Then I will be good, So there's another one, the two professionals now are telling me that I need to do these things in order to be worthy in this society. Another thing that I realized as I was watching that new super cute movie on Netflix, it's called Enola Holmes. And it's with that girl, whatever. Go look at it. It was a cute movie. But it's Sherlock Holmes' little sister. And she has to go on a mission to go find her mama. And so she goes to try on or put on the perfect disguise for her. And that is to disguise herself as a lady. I thought that was funny because I feel like that too. Because this is not my norm. But as she's going for her lady disguise, she's getting fitted for a dress. That pulls up two things. One thing is that back in those days, as far as I can tell, you didn't go to Target and choose size 7 or 12 or 23 or whatever it is. You were custom fit for clothes. So you didn't have to feel guilty when you went up a size because every single piece of clothes was fit to your body. So those numbers in the tags weren't there at that point. But what was there is that when she's taking measurements for this girl, Enola, the seamstress comes down on her because her hips are too narrow. So she's going to build her an enhancement to strap around her to make her hips bigger so that she can be more healthy and attractive in her own society. And Enola's like, what the fuck do I need these for? I'm perfectly fine the way I am. But that got me going, and I've always known this to be true, but now because I'm hyper aware, it really hit home for me about how body shapes are trends, fashion trends, just like clothing is, and home decor is, and whatever. It's just a fashion trend. And I remember looking at through our feed as spiritual people, we have a lot of like ancient Egyptian or ancient Incan or whatever sculptures, pictures, drawings of olden times in which I'm going to go with the female body because, I'm focusing on mine, in which the female body, the goddess or whoever, is this big, fat, round blob of flesh. And when I say big, fat, round blob of flesh, that sounds like such a negative thing coming out of my mouth because that's how we perceive it. Fat is a bad thing. I don't want fat to be a bad thing. I want it to be simply a descriptor. We only use fat in a bad way when we're talking about like adult people. And I've been really dissecting this and trying to really absorb what this intuitive eating is trying to teach, which is not only how to listen to your body and eat based on what it needs and what it wants, what it craves, rather than, go by the clock or the dietitian guides or whatever. But what it's really about is self-acceptance at any size. Because this came as kind of not a shock to me, but something that, I'd never considered because I'm so conditioned by diet culture to believe otherwise. But thin does not equate health. And I'm sure somebody out there who's skinny that does not take care of their body. Wonder if they're, using meth all the time. Those are skinny people, but they are not healthy. And there's plenty of fat people that are doing just fine. They have, their blood work comes out normal and, etc. So I'm really trying to rewire in my brain that fat is not bad. Fat is just different. We are not made to fit in a one size fits all box. How many times have you heard me in the past couple years on this show when I talk about body issues use the Victoria's Secret model as my model? That's the box I keep trying to put myself into. They are beautiful women. I'm not going to deny that. But to try to compare myself to them is just setting myself up for disappointment. They're 22 years old, 6 feet tall, and, they're runway models. I am not. Even when I was 22 years old, I was never a 6-foot tall runway model. So to put myself in that place is just so sad. And then so another way I was trying to get this in my brain to where I can tell myself it's okay to be all these different shapes and sizes was I was thinking about my dog Soba. Oh, she's so cute right over there snuggling in my bed. And not that I want to label people or split them into groups or divide them, but just for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to. Because dogs are split up into breeds. There's tall ones, short ones, furry ones, wavy ones with long hair, ones with short hair, ones with long noses, ones with short noses, blue eyes, brown eyes, coarse hair, soft hair, fur, whatever. There's so many different varieties, and you can mix them all up and create a new dog. So when I think about me, and I keep trying to put myself into a greyhound body, but I'm not a greyhound. I'm a corgi. I'm short and round. Corgis are adorable. So I'm keep trying to put myself in this greyhound body, but I'm never gonna fit. So I'm trying to embrace the corgi in me. I am cute and adorable the way I am. I don't want to keep putting myself in that box anymore. So, all of these different things I'm using to retrain my brain to have self-acceptance. And I realize that I'm just not there. And it's going to take a while. I'm getting the food part. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the body image stuff, I cannot believe how much shame I still have. So intellectually, I'm telling myself I get to be whoever I want. And also, I am my biggest, what do you call it? Criticizer? I don't know which word to use, but I'm the one that's most hard on me. I know my friends don't see me for anything that the cute little sparkly ball of love that I am. I am a good friend. I have a kind heart. And to value myself on just the packaging is wrong. And I went to my friend Carrie's house the other day. We did a joyride video, me, Carrie, Tiffany, and Sarah. And Carrie doesn't even consider this stuff because she's like this big. So she doesn't mind her whole body being in the shot. But you can see me, I'm from the boobs up. I don't want my belly. I don't want my hips. I don't want what did they call it in that Enola movie? I don't want I can't remember what it was. I can't remember, but I don't want those extra hips showing. I'm ashamed of them. So I had to sit there in that video, and all I could do was watch myself on the monitor, and I kept pulling at my shirt and trying to make myself smaller and scooching in. And from my perspective, when I kept looking down, my belly was tucked in as good as I can get it. But seeing myself on that video later, you can see you can see my big belly poke out. You can see my sweatshirt rest on my belly, my hips. You can see all of the parts about me that I'm so ashamed of. And I'm mad. I'm mad at society for making me feel ashamed to be who I am. And I feel so sad for all of the other people in the world that feel like I do. However, I am grateful. I'm becoming grateful for the body that I have because I see how pushing through this lesson, I see how much strength it will give me, how much self-acceptance it will give me. And the bonus is that I get to share it with you, and hopefully I get to inspire you. I kind of irritated with people that have their videos or their posts or whatever it is where they're like, they feed off of the energy that others give them. It's a little bit narcissistic to me, because it's like if the only way you can value yourself is when other people are like complimenting on your videos, then you're not self-accepting. So that is not my motivation. I'm not looking for praise from other people. It does feel good and it does encourage me, but I do this for me. And if anybody gets anything out of this, that's a bonus. And, if I didn't do these videos, I would still be on this path. But because I do these videos, I know that I am an inspiration to others. So I guess this little bit here is mostly to let me know that I am not dependent on feedback. I enjoy it, but I'm not dependent on it, because again, this is for me. And because I am on this path and I constantly, push through things and release them and move on, I have this filter of success, like I started to say. So I don't have as big of a fear as I might have at one point. I feel like right now what I'm doing with retraining my brain to not only accept myself as I am, but also to retrain my brain on fullness cues and things like that. Oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, I will absolutely have success. I've done it so many times. I've beat the romantic twin stuff. I've beat the oppressors. I had 2 oppressors and 2 romantic twins. The romantic twins, again, I have to, just say it to make my video complete in my own mind. That was the same experience twice, whereas the 2 oppressors were different experiences. One had to do with my mama, one had to do with men in my past, both in this life and that life as Mary Anna in the brothel. So because I keep being successful and pushing through it, I am not afraid of this part of my journey. I am uncomfortable. I might have a silver lining. That video that we recorded with Carrie, for whatever reason, my audio went out. Tiffany and I are sharing a microphone, but it works for her, but not for me. I don't get that. And the message that it cut out on was something that I want to share on Stardust. Maybe the universe said, nope, you can't share that quite yet. You got to save it for Stardust. But, so maybe that video won't even get published. But if it does, then, oh God, where's I going with this? Then I'm just, I got to own that. I got to own the way I looked, and I'm going to go ahead and just, not that I have control. I mean, if I told Carrie, please don't post that, she wouldn't, but I'm not going to do that because I want to own this. And I remember, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, when I was in Vegas with Allison, and we actually, it's so trippy because I know some of you don't even know what the Shiny Show and Allison don't even know what that means, but it doesn't matter. We were there in Vegas and we hired a studio and we did videos in the studio, but because we weren't Skyping like this or Zooming or whatever, it was that full body view, and I cringed. I hated. And the only consolation I had was that one day I will lose weight and I can inspire people to see my before and after. Well, here's all my weight back on again. And, so I'm having that same attitude that I'm going to go ahead and let myself be ugly out there in public so that I can inspire. And even if I only inspire myself, that's enough for me. I also consider that my body is like, or my brain is like my closet, and my body is like my house. And I'm cleaning out my closet. And when you clean out your closet, the whole room gets messy until you reorganize, throw the shit away you don't need, and, put everything back in the way you want it, more organized. So right now, I'm reorganizing this closet, and my room is all messy because of it. So once I sort it out, I can go back to being the organized room that I want to be, or closet, or whatever it is. However, whatever that organization ends up being, I'm going to accept it. That's my goal. My goal is not to lose weight. It kind of is right now because I'm still in that place, but ultimately my goal is self-acceptance no matter where I'm at. So let me talk about the food thing and the physical parts of it. The beginning of this intuitive eating is fucking amazing. It is a dream come true. It is a week-long, month-long, perhaps even year-long party of eating whatever you want and as much as you want. And because I have this filter of faith in my journey, filter of success, I didn't worry about the weight. I knew I was going to put on weight, and I'm like, whatever, because later on when all this is done, I'm going to be a happier person because of it. So I embraced this first part. I ate fucking everything. I would be sick every night. And what happens is that what these groups call it is making peace with your restricted foods, making peace with any restrictions, whether it's the time that you eat, the amount that you eat, the things that you eat, whatever it is, you make peace with it. You break all of those rules. You don't break them, you annihilate them. So if it's, when I wanted a snack, something popped in my mind late at night, that first thought is I can't eat this late because my body is going to shut down. It's metabolizing in the middle of the night and I won't be able to, it'll stay on me, whatever it was, whatever those things are doing. So I was like, fuck it. I'm eating it. I want it. I'm eating it. And even when I had those thoughts and I'm like, well, I'm not really that hungry, am I? I was like, well, it's too late. I need to break that. I need to annihilate that rule and go eat it anyway. And I had a lot of self-talk of this is okay. This is what you're doing. You're on your path. But I know because of all that shame of watching myself in that video that I'm, just because I tell myself these positive things does not mean I have quite rewired yet. So, and I want to stay on that, not quite rewired yet. Please don't forget. So in this journey, you do get fucking sick. But you know what happens? You do make peace with your forbidden foods. Let's see, the saltines I mentioned with Denise last video. I would eat the whole thing, the whole sleeve of saltines because I love it. I love it. But I have no interest in eating them anymore. I actually made a really good soup last night, a homemade soup, and I sprinkled some of the little, oyster crackers in there. That's all I needed. I didn't need to eat a whole fucking sleeve. It sounded good to go with my soup. Other things, candy. I'm going through my favorite candies and I'm at the store. Do I want to buy another bag of this? No, I don't. I'm a real sucker for a bargain. I think everybody knows how cheap I am. So I go by the half price bakery or the clearance bakery section. I love that thing. And for years, whenever I'd buy things, it was so taboo. It was so bad. I'd have a guilty conscience. So I went through this thing. We're like, fuck it. I'm buying whatever I want off of this, bakery old bakery thing. I was getting cookies, tortillas, garlic bread, chocolate croissants. I haven't bought a pie yet. Maybe I'll get a pie. I don't know. I'll see if I'll still want it. But I walked past that clearance section, and now that there's no rules and restrictions on me, and I've been binging and enjoying whatever I want, I walked by that thing, and there wasn't one thing that interested me on there. I wasn't restricting, I just wasn't interested. And this keeps happening over and over again. So even though I've definitely put on weight, my clothes are much tighter on me than they were, and that is making me feel extremely huge. But I have to remind myself that I threw all my big girl clothes away. So now I'm trying to squeeze myself into these smaller clothes. I've never worn my clothes this tight ever. So now I'm wearing all these really tight clothes, but they're not tight because I'm super huge. They're tight because I'm wearing the small size in the bigger body, but it gives me the illusion of being much bigger than I am. I'll refuse to buy bigger clothes right now. I did buy a few bigger clothes pieces, but that's because it's sweatshirt weather and there's no reason to wear a small sweatshirt, right? I mean, you just get big and cozy in those things. That's my favorite. I have my Hanes or Fruit of the Loom, size 3X gray sweatshirt. That's my favorite shirt. I wear it on almost every date I ever go on with Sarah. It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees or 40 degrees. My gray sweatshirt is it. So I'm really glad that sweatshirt season is here. I'm going to be sporting that shit. So if you have an interest in doing this intuitive eating, I want to kind of assure you that what it says, I follow these groups and I read the questions of the newbies and I read the comments of the seasoned people, and they all say, it's okay, keep going, you'll get there. It's okay, keep going, you'll get there. And it's absolutely true. And I have a theory that I'm going to fast track this because a lot of the eating disorders that the people have in these groups, I mean, they're major. Anorexia, bulimia, eating disorders that I've never even heard of. And you know that those stem back from childhood traumas or, traumas from their past. But because I've been, releasing stuff for years now, I have a lot of that stuff under my belt. So I feel like I'm getting there. I don't know if I am or not. I'm going to go ahead and just believe that and manifest it. But like I said, I'm already starting to like get over some of those foods. But I'm still not in a restrictive place. I'm eating whatever I want. What did I eat today? I don't remember, but I had 2 cups of coffee with real live eggnog in it. Eggnog has sugar and fat. I didn't give a fuck. I loved it. And it's so much freedom. There's so much freedom with all those gears turning in your head saying this is good, this is bad, you should eat this, you shouldn't eat that, etc., 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 etc. I have food freedom. I don't have body image freedom yet, but I have food freedom. And I will never, ever, 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 ever go back to that old way of thinking in which I restrict myself in order to fit into a box that I don't belong in. If I'm going to be chubby, then I'm going to be chubby. And what I'm going to do instead of losing weight, I'm going to learn to embrace my chubbiness. Now, I believe that I will lose weight because if I'm making peace with all these foods that are restricted and bad. The other day I bought like a huge bin of cookies. It was like a $6 bucket of homemade bakery cookies, huge, and it was like on sale for $1.49 because I'm such a sucker. I bought them. I ate most of them, and when I say a huge bucket, it was huge. Then I bought how many? 12 chocolate covered donuts. I probably ate half of those. I got so sick, I couldn't eat again. I don't have any interest in cookies or donuts ever again. So you really do get over it. So if I get over this stuff and I listen to my body, doesn't it just seem reasonable that I will lose weight automatically? So I'm kind of counting on that. But if it doesn't happen, I don't give a shit. I just want peace. I just want peace. So when I go into these places of wanting to eat whatever it is I'm eating, want to eat what I'm craving, I'm trying to decipher and determine why. Why do I want this comfort? Not only that, what can I do instead? That's to replace that behavior. And that's kind of a more challenging one because, I am cheap. And one of the things in which I could replace my, $1.50 huge bin of cookies is to go get the $35 pedicure. And with me, sometimes the dollar amount's going to win out. I can't be dropping $35 on pedicures whenever I get the blues. So, and another thing I'm trying to do is the same thing with exercise. It's like one step at a time. I loathe exercise. I have no interest in it. So I'm not really into pushing myself to be physical in order to, because it's like another like rule or restriction or something. I don't want to do anything I don't want to do. So I trick myself and I take my dog for a walk because I'm not exercising. Oh, hell no. I don't do that shit. But I love my dog so much that I want to treat her with an olfactory celebration through the park. So that's how I'm tricking myself and making it a positive experience. She loves it and I know I could use it, but it has nothing to do with me. It's all about her. So let me tell you, see, I'm already I'm 30 minutes into this video and I haven't even talked to you about the surprise. I don't even know what to call it. I can't think of what it's called, but I have pushed through something, sort of. And I guess I'll just start. Remember I was saying at the beginning, I don't even know if I did because this is my second start on this video. I didn't like the first one. I deleted it. So sorry if I repeat. But I was feeling like my inner work is not going to do with heartbreak, but rather with stomach ache. And that's okay. But then something else started to come up. Something that's been going on for my entire life almost. At least more than half of my life. And that is my issues with my husband. And I've told you over and over again that he is such a great man. Oh, my dog looks so funny. She's asleep like this. That looks funny. You're so cute. My husband is almost like perfection. He's like beyond perfection. We don't have to worry about anything. He can fix anything. And while we are not rich by my standards, we are wealthy. We don't need for anything. Anything I ever want. I'm a simple girl. I'm a bargain girl. I can afford it. And I'm gonna brag about him. He is just a grease monkey. He is a mechanic for an airline. And he is so good with money that he owns 2 houses flat out. He owns 3 cars flat out. We have no credit card debt. We rack up, we put everything on the credit card and he pays it in full each month. All of my medical things are taken care of. All of my light bulbs get changed. All of the batteries always get replaced. My car breaks down, he fixes it. Everything is always taken care of. He is so good at that. Another thing he's so good at is giving each of us and our family personal attention. He talks to my oldest son, Josh, about politics, even though he doesn't really know anything about politics. He knows that my son thrives on talking about government and shit. So my husband will talk to him for 2 hours, not me, man. I'm like, okay, turn it off. I'm done. With my daughter, he'll go and he'll sit, she's in here on my computer, and he'll get another chair and he'll listen to all of her favorite songs and really get into it. He takes her shopping at the mall and buys her crazy clothes. He's so engaged and so present. With my other boy, my younger one, Layla's twin Ryan, he plays Minecraft with him, or whatever it is, and I kind of have to find like a common interest. Like Layla and I will brush each other's hair, or we'll go shopping. Ryan and he likes massages, and he's such a good masseuse. He must have been one in a past life. This little 12-year-old kid gets my knots out like nobody else can. So we'll do that sort of thing because he has back issues too. Josh and we don't have a lot of commonality, so it's a struggle for us, but every once in a while we'll find something. But my husband, he'll do things with his kids. Oh, and with me. He'll sit down at night after he's taken care of everything else and changed all the batteries and mowed all the lawns and, whatever he's done. At the end of his day, he still has time for me. So he brushes my hair almost every night and puts a braid in it, which I immediately take out because I can't sleep in a braid and I don't want my hair with fucked up waves. But he takes care of all of us. He's such a good man. But he has this one thing, and he blames me. He blames everybody for everything, but I'm the easiest one because he doesn't want to damage his children, and he sees me being as a capable adult. So he blames everything on me, even things that don't need to have, something blamed on it. There doesn't need to be anybody responsible for this particular thing, but he still points the finger at me. All of his faults, all of his flaws, all the things he does wrong, he finds a way to blame me. And if he can't find a way to blame me, he will twist and manipulate the dialogue, the argument, until he gets me so fired up that I'm pissed off. Then I'm the crazy one. Then he can blame me for not being able to speak to him with respect, even though I started off that way. And, this term gaslighting is new to the internet. I don't know when it was invented or who, coined it or whatever. But all of a sudden, it's all over the internet. We know that narcissists gaslight other people. Well, I didn't have a word for it, but that's what he's been doing with me for years. Well, after my experience with twin 3, it was actually twin 4. You know who I'm talking about. I'm just reluctant to keep bringing up his name because I don't want to use him as like a board to bash on. Anyway, the experience I had with my twin that brought me to a place of learning how to say no and not internalizing everything. Because I believed that my ill feelings towards him were really a reflection on how I felt about myself. So once I learned to say, that's not me, I'm not wrong, it's you, it's him, whatever it is. Not that I want to blame other people, but I want to put responsibility where responsibility is due. And I have such an issue of a lifetime's worth of being blamed that last experience I pushed through over the summer, the one that made me so angry, brought me to a whole new level of not taking shit from people. So now when my husband tries to pull that shit on me, I go nuts. I don't know, maybe I have. Maybe in my journey with Michael, I got to this level of crazy, but that was by myself. I wasn't screaming at Michael because he's on the other side of the planet. I wasn't screaming at my husband because it wasn't him. So I was, it's so weird because like the universe would arrange for me to be away from home. One time I had one of my worst meltdowns when I went to Vegas and stayed in a hotel by myself. I didn't know I was going to have that meltdown there, but thanks, guys. So now I'm having these issues with my husband who's still blaming me for every motherfucking thing, and I'm losing my shit. And I'm here. I don't have room for one more drop of blame. So even if it's something that's small and insignificant, and there's two sides of the same coin, whether he's blaming me or not accepting responsibility for his own shit, to me, it's the same thing. So either way, I'll lose it. And I got so angry and irate the other day that I screamed like I've never screamed before. You know that show? I've never watched it before, but it's called Snapped. And I guess they're like little, like documentaries on people, maybe women in particular, I don't know, in which somebody has snapped and then went and murdered somebody. Well, murder was not on my mind, but I definitely snapped. I lost all control. And I actually was sitting on the couch and it's a sectional. So I was over here and the table's in between us. I got so mad at him that I stood up and I screamed and I was like climbing on the table, screaming at him. I will not be blamed for anything else, you motherfucker. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I went nuts. And the argument moved over to the bedroom. My kids weren't home. This is during the school. Actually, there's been a few arguments, full-blown fights that have been going on for a couple weeks now. Every week there's another one. It's like we're on a schedule. So if I mix the fights up, whatever, it doesn't matter to you. But I got in his face and I said, I don't want to be married to you anymore. I am going to divorce you. I want divorce. I am done with you. I love myself too much that I will not stay in a place that hurts me this bad. And he just left the room. I was screaming at him. There was really no point. And even when he tried to defend himself or even apologize or explain, I was done. I was like, there's nothing you can say that's going to change my mind. There's nothing you can say that will bring me any peace. Get the fuck out of my face because I've had it with you. And so he's gone and I was pacing and I'm screaming at Fairy Girl, I surrender. I don't care what's next. I'm done with the way things are now. And a couple things happened with that. One of the things I learned is that when you get to that point, things don't necessarily change right away, because I've been at this point before. And that's when I took off to Hawaii, to Maui to go stay with Judy almost 2 years ago. We fought like this before and I'm like, fuck it, I got to get out of here. I don't know what layer peeled. I don't know what I shed, because nothing really changed. However, I did come to accept that things will change in certain ways in the future. It hasn't happened yet. So I guess this was just another layer. So again, I don't expect things to change dramatically. That's a good one. Dramatically or drastically? Dramatically. I just made up a new word. Anytime soon, but I changed. Physically it won't change, but I changed. I changed in such a way that, I knew I had surrendered. I knew I did. And you know how I know? Here's my fucking miracle. I had a miracle this week. When you change, we hear it all the time. We read about it all the time, that when you change, energy shifts. I guess I needed him to keep on blaming me for things until I got to that place of surrender. Because after I said that, we kind of spoke, we wanted peace. We were spent. And even though nothing was resolved, we were done fighting. So he didn't understand, I've been on this journey. I know what ego means, spiritually speaking. I know what narcissists mean because I've been studying it recently. I never knew before. I really thought that the narcissist or whatever was the guy from Greek mythology that looked in the water and admired his reflection. But the reality is that narcissists do not look at their reflection. They blame everybody else. They're not about to look at themselves. So I realized, I was reading to my husband one night, and I couldn't even talk because, let me tell you, in these big fights, I have never been so exhausted. They would leave me to the point of collapsing. I just wanted to go lay down in my bed after being in the living room and climbing on that table, but I only got about 6 feet before I fell down on the floor. And then I finally composed myself up enough to stand up and walk to the bed and just wailing, just grieving, mourning, and wailing in there. And I'm not a girl that complains about my mortality or really my health. I don't have any fears of things, but the amount of stress level, I'm like wondering if I'm like damaging my heart. And I've never been that exhausted. That must be like what marathon runners feel when they're at the end of their, I did like I don't know how far they run. How far do you run in a marathon? I ran like 50 miles in 20 minutes. I don't know. I was that exhausted. So after one of these exhaustive episodes, I'm reading off the internet definitions of what ego means to my husband. Because in his brain, he's thinking that ego means that you're, the guy at Muscle Beach that's all fluffed up with muscles, and fluffing his feathers out and being, stuck up about it. And I'm like, that's not, it does mean that. But in this case, in your case, your ego, because I kept saying, you have your fucking, I was mad, you fucking pussy ego. And, I was being really mean and ugly because I wasn't holding back. I used to cut myself instead of being mean, and ugly and nasty to other people. I would be mean, ugly, and nasty to myself and rip into myself, all those terrible things I used to do to me. Now I'll let it rip on him. So I'm trying to talk to him what ego is. And I said, ego is actually a good thing. It's here to protect you. And all of those memes we see on the internet, I'm like, don't beat yourself up for being the way you were because it suited you. So I was telling him, your ego is meant to protect you. And the reason that you can't ever be wrong and why you always have to blame me is because it's so important to you to protect your family, to be this man, this pillar of strength. So if you were to realize that you had done something wrong, that will shatter that protective ego layer that you have. So I understand that your narcissism comes from a place of wanting to protect us. And I'm like, but I don't care anymore. I don't care the reason. I don't care how noble it is. I'm done being your whipping boy. I'm done with it. So my husband, because I became done with it and I had this shift, it was almost like the universe or his higher self said, okay, you are allowed to heal from this now because she's had what she needs. So shift your energy, Rob. And he broke down. And I never see this man cry. It's very rare. And he couldn't even speak. But he's like, I feel like I used to feel. I'd never heard this story. When my mom would yell at me the way you're yelling at me. And I would hide in my mom's closet because she would yell at me and say to me, you can never do anything right. You can never get it right. You can't get anything right ever. And he was grieving so hard. So I just raced in. I forgot all my shit and I held him and I gave him all this mama love and I gave him so much praise. And I see, do you see the parallel of your mother telling you as a young child that you can't do anything right to now feeling like you don't do anything wrong? It's everybody else, not you, because you're so trying to protect that piece of you that feels like you can't do anything right. So, and he's crying. He's like, I see it. And I said, and he kept saying over and over again, because I was trying to tell him it's okay to be wrong. You don't have to blame everybody. It's okay to be wrong. Being wrong and admitting you're wrong is the starting point in which you grow and evolve. We don't come here as perfect beings. We come here to grow. And if you don't admit that you have room to grow, then you won't grow. You're going to be stuck in this place. So for the longest time, even though I'm telling him all these really smart things and all of this, knowledge that I have under my belt, all he could repeat was, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. That was like a new concept to him. So we've been spending a few days. We had a couple days where we just sort of ignored each other and grieved and felt sad. But we had a couple days too after that where we would take our dog for a walk together and just sit and talk about things. And, he would release and he would cry. And I'm like, I never expected this to happen with him. I knew eventually you'd get it. I know that's why I'm here. And I see things all over the internet that's like, you can't change a person, quit trying to change them, et cetera, et cetera. And that's true to a certain extent. It really is. But look, it's not the case here. He still has to have the desire to change, but I helped him get there. That mirror I've been holding up, those screams I've been throwing at him helped him see himself. And he has so much gratitude. And I've been so validated. So I'm not blaming him for everything because, like I said, he had to treat me this way until I came to a place of surrender. So he did his job and I'm doing my job. And I keep talking to him. See how we are yin and yang too? See how we are supplying each other with opposite yet equal needs or whatever it is, It's like, I see it. I see it. And he had to really, because I'm like, I'm so pure of heart. Do you see how many times you have taken my goodness and twisted it into something ugly? And why I get so frustrated with you? It's like, how can you see me? How can you see my motivation as being anything but pure and good? I'm so pure and good. Because he takes it as me being bad and mean. It's like he's got this default setting. And here's a stupid yet perfect example. He was feeling frustrated one day and I have no idea what. And we passed each other in the hallway and I knew he was feeling bad. So I just kind of gave him like a love pat on the shoulder. And instead of taking that as support, his fucked up brain said, fuck you. What kind of comfort is that? You're comforting me as if you're a buddy at work rather than my wife. You need to comfort me like a wife would comfort me. What the fuck does that mean? And in my mind, I'm like thinking, you haven't treated me like a wife in a long time. Wink. So it's like, how can you expect me to be wifely to you? And what is the difference between a wifely pat on the shoulder versus a buddy pat on the shoulder? And who gives a shit in which way this comfort comes to you? Take it for what it is. It's comfort. Why are you putting a rule or restriction or expectation on which way I'm supposed to comfort you? So every single kindness that would come out of me was always interpreted as some kind of negative. So we would constantly fight. I'm like, how the fuck can you blame me for comforting you in the wrong way? Years I dealt with this. Years I dealt with his misinterpretation of my kindness and my motivation. It'd make me crazy. So he's retraining his brain right now, going, you are a nice person. You are a good person. You are full of kindness. Because I guess all of the shit his mother dumped on him was just assholeness and fuckery. His filter's so thick. And he's the kind of person that says, well, that's how I was raised and I turned out just fine. And I'd say to him, if you turned out just fine, then you wouldn't have your wife screaming at you all the time. You have got to introspect. So now he says, I didn't grow up just fine. I didn't. I see it. He's so motivated because he doesn't want his kids to have this same garbage dumped on him that he really wants to change. But speaking from experience, this thing isn't done in layers. He also doesn't have the success filter that I have. So he's not going to be able to introspect in the same way with the same competency that I have because he's a newbie at this. So I believe that the reason that I am doing both my intuitive eating and retraining my brain about my self-image at the same time that I'm working through my stuff with him is because I know damn well he's going to trigger me again. I know he's going to trigger me again, but I feel like, I always talk about my Instant Pot and the pressure release. I feel like the pressure's been released, so my bucket isn't all the way filled up. I have room. I have a little wiggle room for him dropping his bullshit into my bucket. And when he drops that bullshit into my bucket, instead of screaming and annihilating him with my anger, I feel like it will be an opportunity for me to self-reflect. And rather than self-soothe through food, I'm going to try to find a way in which I can soothe in a more productive way than putting chemicals into my body. If I still choose to put chemicals in my body or nutrition, if I'm still going to medicate myself through food, I'm going to be okay with that too, because I truly believe that the term comfort food is not a bad thing. If you need comfort through food, then take it. If it's medicine for you, then take your medicine. Many medicines have side effects. So if one of the side effects is weight put on, then whatever, deal with it. But don't discount the power of food. I feel like, there's a balance though. I don't want that to be my main way of release or, comfort. But it's okay, sometimes it is. So, many of us, most of us, in fact, if you have we all have relationships with other people, but think of your family. You might be the only one that has woke up. You might be the only one that understands spirituality, the law of attraction, all these other things. So you don't really expect others in your immediate family to have these kinds of epiphanies and aha moments because you see yourself growing. You don't expect them to do the same thing. So for him to, out of the blue, get to this place of, I have been wrong all along. My mama did these things to me. My wife is here to help me. My wife is not a mean person. And, all these things, all of the reason that I treat her this way is because of this. It is so hard for a narcissist to see their flaws. He is such a good man. I've put up with him and tolerated this shit all this time because I know how good he is. It's so hard to feel like I had to leave him because he does love us so much. And now I still feel like some space will be needed. I still feel like I want to be on my own. I don't know. I mean, paths can change. I'm not stuck on that, but I don't even know what I want to inspire in this moment. Maybe to know that these loved ones can have this big epiphany, that even, quote, a muggle can learn, grow, and evolve. I don't want to encourage people to stay in a toxic relationship, but because of my own experience, I see memes. I just want to go and argue with them and then say, no, you can teach an old dog new tricks. You can be the inspiration for somebody else's change in their path. Again, I can't change him. I can only inspire him and guide him, but I'm so proud of him. I feel like we both had a definite shift. This does not feel like empty promises. He said things that he's never ever said before. I see true growth and I see true potential in us being able to find peace. I don't know what that means for us as far as our marriage goes. I don't really feel like we will reconnect romantically, and I'm still kind of into that. So I feel like I will still have relationships with others. I don't know what the future holds. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm only grateful for the things that have already happened. My work is my inner work. I know one day I'll get like a real live job somehow and make my own money. So that makes me feel like my inner work will cut down, because you can't do both. You can't be who I am processing for shit from another life and healing the other members of your soul family if you're trying to, bring home the bacon. You can't do both. So if I truly am going to have a means to support myself, then I believe that my inner work will chill the fuck out. So I just, whatever shit I'm going through right now, the discomfort of feeling ugly and unworthy, and the discomfort of the screaming at my husband and feeling like I got to get the fuck out of this place. My success filter allows for me to embrace this shitty, painful time in my life, because I know that I will come out the other side happier, freer, more competent, all of the good things that keep happening to me once I push through these challenging lessons. So I guess I'll sort of wrap it up here. Next time I'm good. And I even taught my husband some tapping stuff, whatever it was. So next time my next show, I believe I'm going to do some tapping with Tiffany. But I hope that this episode inspired some of you to, if it's your path, everybody can do intuitive eating, but you have to be drawn to it. And it doesn't matter if you have medical conditions that prevent you from certain foods. If you do have a gluten intolerance, that's not restricting because of diet and diet culture and pressure. You're restricted because it makes you feel sick. So those kinds of restrictions are okay. They're legit. But if this interests you, if you're feeling the littlest bit inspired to try this intuitive eating, I so encourage it. Even though I'm growing, physically, I'm so free in my mind. I'm so free, and I will take whatever physical consequences come my way, because my mental state is so much better. And I still feel like I want everybody to do this. I know it's not everybody's path, but I want everybody to try it or consider it, or whoever wants to do it, whoever's drawn to it, do it. Yes, 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 yes. Join the groups. Google information on the internet. There's so many blogs. There's so much information about intuitive eating out there. And I realize too that, retraining my brain in this method will help me in other areas. I'll have success again in whatever future issues come my way. I've learned I have that fucking success filter. I can do it. So can you. All right, you guys. Thank you again for following along on my story. I know it's mine. It's cathartic for me. It's healing for me, but it's always my wish that somebody gets something out of it. All right, you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Until next time. Bye.